I've spent the past nearly 10 years of my life working as a bouncer, and the thing that a lot of my out-of-town friends ask me is, what sets Portland nightlife apart from other cities? And the first thing that comes to mind is definitely our strip clubs. Portland is the strip club capital of the entire country. We have more clubs per capita than even Houston or Atlanta. So we got a lot of variety. I mean, we got historic clubs, high-end clubs, we got alternative clubs, we even have clubs with vegan menus. That means there's a ton of strippers living here. So the question is, what do they do after work? If your 9 to 5 is clocking out at 4:30 in the morning, what's out there for you? How do you blow off steam? How do you recharge? Right now we're headed to Acropolis, a steakhouse/strip club owned by a Greek cattle farming family, to see what happens after the club closes. Why do you think Portland is the strip club capital of the country?
Because it's the only state where there's the no touching, it's full nude, full alcohol. And girls really put a lot into acting. It's more about a performance here, and the girls love that.
Obviously, in Portland, everything closes around 2:30, 3 o'clock. What sort of things do you like to do after work to wind down if you've had a stressful night?
I take my dogs for a walk or take them outside and play with them in the yard and shower and try to go straight to bed. On the weekends, there's usually places that are open a little bit later for food, but weekdays, I feel like everything shuts down.
So what if I were to tell you that there is a place in town that provides yoga classes from 11 to 4 in the morning for people that work the third shift?
I had no idea.
Is that something you'd be interested in?
I was like, what? Yeah, I think so. Hell yeah.
I guess I'm not surprised Jenna hadn't heard of this yoga thing. I only know about it because I'd read an article online. 4 a.m. yoga sounded pretty fucking cool. So I called up the woman who runs it, and she said I could come by. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jameson.
Rachel, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to Yin Yoga Space.
Excellent. Care to show us around?
Sure. Yeah, we have a seating area here and cubbies. So anything that you don't want to bring into class with you, you're welcome to put in a cubby. So through here is where we do our yoga. A little short step down when you come in.
So what is Sin Yin Yoga, and how did it start?
I was a bartender working in different nightclubs, strip clubs, sex clubs for the last 18 years. When I opened up my yoga studio in 2017, I was still in the service industry and I wasn't really taking care of myself very well, doing a lot of partying. So, usually we would just get off, have some drinks, bullshit about the customers that we had to deal with. And that was kind of how we wound down after a shift. And when I found yoga, I just had a passion for being able to bring it to other people who might be in the same situation as me, coming from the service industry where you're off late and there's not really any healthy options.
Have you found that in the late night sex work, bartending industries, partying hard and not taking care of your bodies is a pretty common thing?
Yeah, more and more we're realizing that the lifestyle that we're living isn't a sustainable way to be. And so I do think that there is some sort of movement that's kind of happening. And I think it's going to take a lot of us to start providing different services for people who are in the industry.
So when do you offer the Sin Yin program? What's the schedule like?
So Sin Yin is set up as an open format version of practice. So in a traditional, yoga schedule or yoga studio schedule, things are, it's probably about an hour-long class, and it starts at a specific time and ends at a specific time. And so we have it set up to where you can literally just walk in anywhere from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. on Thursday and Friday nights and start practice. And I have some stations set up with mats and props so that they can just walk in and find the station and then kind of join us wherever we're at.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. If you're comfortable with crisscross legs, then let's go ahead and find that position. And it might be helpful to place a bolster, like that pillow-like object behind you underneath your bum. That can give you a little bit of elevation there.
So what sort of feedback have you gotten from sex work community that have come and attended your class?
And most of the time, they're just really excited that this exists. Open mouth exhale. It's something that, maybe they've thought of before or wished that they had before, and it's just never been something that has been done. As far as I know, definitely we're the only in Portland that's offering this. So when you're ready, press into your feet, lift your hips. And we're gonna slide this block underneath you, and you're gonna need to adjust a little bit.
Yeah.
Deep breaths. You know, this is a passion project of mine, so it's been years that I've been wanting to do this, and it gives me energy to be here and to be able to actually be there for people utilizing the late night shifts, so it feels good. With your next inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, kind of like you're going into a good morning stretch.
Maybe this is a good place to talk about why exactly we've got so many strip clubs here. Without getting too much into it, strip clubs have been in Portland forever, but owners and dancers were constantly being harassed by the police. In the 80s, one bookstore owner actually got sentenced to jail for selling obscene material. But then a judge said this about the case in 1987. In this state, any person can write, print, read, say, show, or sell anything to a consenting adult, even though that expression may be generally or universally considered obscene. That was the green light strip clubs needed. Within a year of that ruling, there were 50 strip clubs in Portland, and now it's just a part of the culture. In other cities, politicians try to make laws to shut clubs down. Out here, they ask strippers to help write the laws. Even though, as I found out, that doesn't mean everything is always positive for the strippers.
I am a stripper. I've been a stripper for 15 years, mostly here in Portland. A little bit of traveling, but most of my stripping career has been here. I love working in Portland because there's a really different culture here. Stripping isn't taboo in the way that it is in most places. You know, here I'm fully out of the closet. Everyone knows what I do for work. It's not a big deal. Everyone has friends who are strippers. One of my favorite things about dancing in Portland is that there's more of an appreciation for alternative girls. My tattoos are a much bigger liability in other cities, whereas here they're an asset. And that's something that's really nice because, you know, if I go somewhere like Las Vegas, they take one look at me and they're like, hey, you're not what we're looking for.
All right, how's your body feeling today?
Why do you feel like access to a late night yoga is important to you specifically?
In addition to just the physical toll that stripping takes on your body, there's also a huge psychological toll as well. And it's really important for me to have that moment of silence and meditation because, you know, sometimes we're not treated very well. There can be, you know, little, I don't know, micro traumas, I guess, if you want to call it that. And it can be very healing psychologically as well as, you know, healing physically, of course, because it is hard on our bodies. You know, we're on our feet all night in 6-inch heels.
Yeah, just take a moment here to kind of arrive, let yourself kind of notice whatever's happening within your body this evening, wherever you're feeling sensations.
Can you talk more about sort of the psychological stresses that you experience at work?
Probably the single biggest psychological stressor for me at work is never knowing if I'm going to make money or not. I pay the club to work. They don't pay me, so already I'm in the negative when I show up. And it's like, am I gonna leave empty-handed? Am I gonna make $1,000? I don't really know. And that feeling of not knowing, I think, is the hardest part. And of course, there's also customers who are rude. I've had people yank my arm and hurt me because they were curious about what my tattoo is. You know, there's sexual assault is just, it's kind of part of the job. I think it's a really great place for narcissists to come and act out their narcissism. Sometimes even just being treated like I'm dumb can be frustrating because I'll be honest, I'm more well-educated than a lot of these people, so it can be a little frustrating being talked down to just because of what I'm doing for work.
And then switch through center, come into the other side.
What has your experience been like attending the classes? Like, what sort of changes have you noticed about yourself?
It feels very different than going to a class, you know, before work or in the middle of the day. It feels like my body needs it more. So I understand now why there's so many 5 or 6 o'clock classes, because people need yoga after work. So it's nice to have that.
And then when you're ready, go ahead and unravel, release.
What's the most surprising thing you've learned since you've started offering the Sinian program?
I mean, it's just honestly that it's working. Sex work is work, it's hard work. So yeah, I just think that it's important to recognize how hard dancers work, sex workers work, service industry work. You know, it's something that oftentimes gets kind of ignored or overlooked.
Wait, so service industry people come to your class as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're open in general to anybody who works late night and wants to come and take care of themselves. But this is specifically with service industry and sex workers in mind.
You know, the article had me thinking it was just strippers, but it makes sense that other people who work the third shift would need a place to go too. Rachel told me about a guy who comes here pretty often, so I went to go check him out down at Street Disco in the Foster Powell part of town.
I've been working in the service industry for about a decade now. Currently, I'm a line cook.
So have you always worked back of house?
No, I didn't start in the back of house in the service industry. I worked mainly the front of house, like counter service. Ended up working really closely with some line cooks at B Sauce, and that kind of inspired me to work back of house. And yeah, kind of didn't look back as soon as I stepped in the kitchen.
Have you noticed any sort of change in the customer base, like post-COVID?
Yeah, customers definitely gotten worse. People were very demanding from the service industry workers, especially like front of house staff. And then now I think it's like calming down a little bit more, but definitely there's still that residual of people getting out of COVID and they just want to go out, go to restaurants, you know, be catered to. All right, where's cream cheese? Grab my knife. I am making cheesecake. Just cutting up the cheese. Make sure everything's a little organized so when I clean it later, it's easier to clean.
So did like shitty customers kind of inform your decision to kind of go back in the kitchen?
That was a big part of it, yeah. I mean, cooking is one of my passions, but definitely just getting the brunt end of all their energy kind of takes it out of you at the end of the day. Definitely snapped at a couple customers. Yeah, I start my week off with a prep shift. So it's actually, I like it because I feel like it sets a good pace for the week. But the little prep before work is nice.
What are some common misconceptions people have about, you know, your industry, the late night industry?
I think there's like a whole stereotype of like just being like party animals, like people who do drugs, who like don't take care of themselves. There is some truth to that, but I think also in Portland, there's been a big shift, especially after COVID, of people just being a little bit healthier. Like right now, I'm like on a kind of health journey to be healthy, and before I would just like go to drink after work, and then like when I'm off, I would go drink again.
The shift today was really good. It was busy. Night, we're gonna clean up. I think it's gonna slow down here to a screeching halt pretty soon, like around 10. I'm gonna do a little deep clean, like we'll clean the hoods and everything, and then I'm gonna go over to Sin Yoga and make it there by midnight.
So how did you hear about the Sinian program?
I heard about it like several months ago, actually. I think I started hearing about it October or November when Rachel first started it. It was like all word of mouth. Like I heard it from my coworker, and then about like a month or two ago, I started going. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, just get cozy, find whatever feels good. All right.
So how has yoga helped you, like personally?
It's different from all the other things that I do to kind of relax.
Slide your block underneath your lower back there.
Definitely yoga is the one where it's like I have to go in it calm and like come out of it calm. And it's nice because it's a moment to kind of just slow everything down for like an hour. Yeah, it's definitely with body issues too, like my lower back pains. shoulder pains from working in the kitchen. So yeah, definitely I almost took a nap last time I went, like in the last pose.
The impression that's kind of stuck with me through this whole experience is that, you know, when we go out on the weekends and we have a good time, you know, these people take care of us. You know, they absorb all of our stress and our anxiety and our desires, you know, everything that builds up during the week. And when we wake up in the morning, we forget about them. It only seems right that these people be able to live in a city and a society that takes care of them as much as they take care of us. So being able to put a face and a story to the people that keep this city running while we're sleeping, you know, it's giving me something to think about the next time I go out.
All right, deep breath in. And let it out.